This episode of Lost Anarchy Presents has been brought to you by Zigret.com.
Television. Well, let's go.
All right, guys. What do you guys think? 90s
for television, for sure.
Why?
I grew up in a really messed up, dysfunctional home, and I watched, like, TV in the 80s, and I'm like, who the hell are these people? I'd watch the Cosbys, and I'm like, I don't know anyone like these people.
It's a Black 50s
Finally,
family.
in the 90s, I started seeing, like, Roseanne, Married with Children, and I was watching TV, The Simpsons, and saying, oh my God, these are more families like how I live and my friends live.
Are we talking primarily sitcoms?
We're talking everything television. Because you can go SNL cast 80s versus 90s. Which,
you know, I'm going to have to go 90s when it comes to that. But you know what? Pee-wee was 80s. There's a lot of things in the 80s too that we're forgetting about here. By the way, they're going to do it. You know this? Yes.
Fuck that guy. Mr. Lexon. Because he listens too much, he just listens to his wife too much, like a bitch. Okay? He does love it. He's stuck with the 70s, and he discovers Seth Green. Fuck Seth Green.
why do you dislike Seth Green?
Because he has to have a gay undertone in everything he does. It was nothing against gays, just to the point where basically, like, we get it, you're in the closet. Not in a rude way, I'm just saying. You know what I mean? Like, what do you guys think?
As far as Judd Apatow?
Yeah, well, Judd, he's cool.
I can't even name one of his movies. I don't give a fuck about any of
We're getting
these.
slightly off topic here, guys. Judd Apatow has nothing to do with 80s versus 90s.
Yeah, you're right. He's all about 70s.
A lot of the stuff takes place in the 80s.
No, it takes place in the 70s, actually. Yeah, 70s. Come on, you're trying to tell me the movie, what was it called?
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we straying off the subject? Television, right?
Yes, we're still on television.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, dysfunctional families, like, you know what I mean, like...
Roseanne, Home Improvement, keep going. The 90s.
Home Improvement was dysfunctional?
Yeah, because you have a guy with he's the caveman. You're like, It's all proud about being a caveman and shit. You know what I mean? It was like,
oh no, the bong has gone down.
I'm searching right now for.
We're on animation right
animation now, dude.
Animation is here.
Animation for the 80s
versus 90s. 80s is all about capitalism. It's all about buy me. We're all about toys. G.I. Joe. The list goes on. 90s. We're a little different in the 90s because it's all like you can do your own thing. Prime time,
adult,
like
cartoons.
80s versus 90s animation. Here we go.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to choose?
Well, come on. In 80s we had like G.I. Joe, Transformers, Voltron, shit like that. And
She-Ra, He-Man.
Yeah.
Heathcliff.
Yeah, but in 90s we had Duckman. We had the Tick. Spoon!
Ren and Stimpy.
Beavis
The
and
actual
Butthead.
Batman animated series was pretty great.
Exactly, which is
Gargoyles. I think the 90s cartoons are good.
No, you're right.
They were better.
Yeah. So what do you guys agree? All right, crowd here. 90s.
What's the age group here? You 5.
What's going on, my friends over there?
Hey, you're supposed to speak for a crowd.
You were born in 86?
Yeah, so I know the
Okay.
cartoons of the 80s.
Thank you so much, dude. Thank you so much.
I would say the
85.
90s are better,
Oh,
though.
God, are we really the elders?
Animation.
Oh my God, we are.
We're the old
Newcomers
people
over here.
here.
They're newcomers.
1968.
Yeah.
I think cartoons got a lot darker in the 90s, like the shows that
Wait,
you
come on.
from
Chris
school
Sippy.
were
I
on.
know what I'm going to do to you.
I want to say cartoons were a lot darker in the 40s.
Well, yeah, they were racist.
We're not talking about the 40s,
Blink.
we're talking about the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah.
The quality is much better. There's like some channel Cubo and they show He-Man and She-Ra. And when I was a little girl, I thought it was the greatest. And I look at it now and it like looks like crap. The quality is shitty.
I mean, all you
But
gotta say
then
is
you watch like you pull up a Tiny Toon Adventures and it's like much clearer.
Well, come on.
Nicer looking pictures.
All right, I believe 90s win animation. I believe we're to movies now.
Yeah, we're in movies now.
We are at movies.
And we have different categories, right, brother?
Yes, there are many categories. We're going to do sci-fi. We're going to do horror. We're going action.
because this is like an infinite conversation. Movies we're talking.
Yeah, it's gonna go on.
Well, you're the filmmaker, Shane. You're the
We
filmmaker.
break a
so-
lot down for the movies because it goes on.
You know what? How's this? 80s, they paved the way. They actually, think about John Carpenter. John Carpenter was one of the only directors that could make back-to-back classics. And we had a lot of directors that were doing that in the 80s, even though a lot of it is cheese ass and you can't watch them anymore. And 90s kind of went in, set the standard as far as what the style was going to be even to today, I would say, a lot of it. As far
Well, the 90s is like the first keep it real era. And like, oh yeah, we can't do like comic movies, we can't do those. We gotta keep it real a little bit. However, let's talk Batman. Let's go Batman movies. Alright, I know you like the Nolan stuff.
Yeah.
I hated the third one. Rises was horrible for me, but...
Well, Jesse's the one who actually read Nightfall, that's why.
I have, wait.
No, you never read Nightfall, shut the fuck up.
No, I was thinking of Night Cries.
Nightfall.
But 80s Batman was great, but 90s Batman was horrible.
I like all the 90s Batman
We're
that
talking
you guys say
movies.
suck. The movies, yes.
Yeah, Joe
I'm
Schumacher.
talking about the
That would make
movies.
you an
But
anomaly.
I'm a girl, so I could like crap.
Alright.
Oh yeah, she's a girl.
She likes all
crap.
the Joel Schumacher neon paint all over everything.
Yeah, I like those ones. Robin,
Sorry.
they're like flipping in the air and stuff.
George Clooney.
I mean, I'm more of a Tim Burton fan. I mean, Tim Burton was my fucking hero, and then like he got really lame because whatever. I wish, by the way, all these critics, internet critics who want to talk shit on Dark Shadows, suck my dick. Sorry to be rude here, but this is why. Because that movie,
I'll talk shit on Dark Shadow.
fuck you. Why did you watch the show? Oh, let me guess, you watched the show? What?
No, I didn't.
Do you fuck old chicks? Do you fuck old chicks? Okay.
No, but you do, Mojo.
Well, I am a whore. Come on.
Go.
I mean, like, my problem I have...
Hey, now we're taking it personal, guys.
Oh, yeah, now we're on movies, Jesse. There's Slimer.
We're still on movies.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Remember? Or we're talking about movies.
80s. Okay, when it came to sci-fi, for example, sci-fi, especially 1984, really set the standard. I mean, we had like things that were ahead of their time, like movies like Ice Pirates and like. You remember Ice Pirates?
You gotta love the Ice Pirates.
You gotta love the Ice Pirates, man. I mean, like, yeah.
Who'd we get to see? Young Ron Perlman. Yes.
Yeah,
young Ron Perlman.
Young
He
Ron
actually
Perlman.
looks young in the movie.
Yeah, it's really scary. That guy from the guy from
Sons of Anarchy.
yeah, that show.
And
Robert Ulrich and
Robert Ulrich. I think
Ron.
Ron Perlman. We just said
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But like, well, yeah, he's Hellboy, and he's also Beast and Beauty and the Beast with Linda Hamilton.
That's right, he was.
Yeah,
That's right.
that's how he's known for.
Oh, I love that show.
What? You mean
Alright,
Romeo
yeah.
and Juliet? And...
Kabuki Man.
Yeah.
Sergeant
Toxic
Kabuki Man,
Avenger.
NYPD.
Toxic Avenger.
Terra Firma was
Nukem
great.
High.
We're talking some James Gunn movies over here.
Yeah, but the thing about it is also James Gunn, who did Guardians of the Galaxy, right? Like, which you know the guy, right?
What?
James Gunn.
I don't know him personally.
Yeah, but
I have
you know-
a friend who works with him.
Yeah. Well,
He's a boy.
yeah. Well, the thing about it is that, like his start was trauma. I saw a guy who was actually dressed as Star-Lord, and I stumped him because I'm a nerd like that. I love you guys. But what happened was, like, James Gunn's first thing he did was trauma, and his three movies he did for trauma was Romeo and Juliet, Terra Firma, and Toxic Avenger 4. And like, one thing that really stood out more than anything else is that he did his soundtracks. Like, he actually picked all the bands. Like when he did Romeo and Juliet, the last song by Sublime was on Romeo and Juliet. You know what I mean? So that's how I look at it from a bigger point of view. Like, he picked the right bands. You know what I mean? And for Terra Firma, he actually got cameos from the Lunatics and Toilet Boys, and even like Lemmy. Lemmy actually was the narrator for Romeo and Juliet.
That's right.
You know what I mean? I mean, come on. The one line that Lemmy says in And Toxic Avenger 4 is God blesses everyone. You know what I mean? Like, you can't get any more rock and roll than that, man.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I can probably get Lemmy to like narrate my bathroom renovation.
Yeah.
Right now.
Well, yeah.
It's kind of.
But when it comes, but Full Moon, the reason why we bring this up because Trauma may have started in 1970, but they got their big hit in the 80s. You know, with Toxic Avenger 1.
Does anybody here know Full Moon Entertainment? Is anyone familiar?
I don't even know what either one of those are. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, Full Moon's great because I love. Like the movie. What was the movie? Bad Channels. The soundtrack was by the score was by Blue Oyster Cult, but the soundtrack was all these local bands in LA. Basically, the best way to describe Trauma versus Full Moon is it's 80s East Coast versus 90s West Coast. Which Julie
90s West Coast.
So obviously, Julie, you'll be choosing Full Moon on this one. We got like a band.
That one, yeah.
We have that band, Psychotic Symphony, has a song, I'm so happy. Trust me. When you see the video and you hear the song, you're like Beavis. You're like, this the entire fucking time. You're like, yeah. It's awesome, dude. I made a rant and shit. Yeah, that's why I'm here. But you know what I'm saying? Like literally, that movie, that company started in the 90s, and they were a low-budget company that was co-owned by Paramount. I knew about them other than it was just crazy shit, and I'm, fellow horror nerds and whatnot. But I knew about that because when I went to Star Trek convention, they had their own booth. I'm like, why does Full Moon have a booth at a Star Trek convention? It's because they're whatever. In fact, Full Moon tonight is actually doing the Zombie Prom tonight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, on Broadway. yeah. My friend Rye's doing it.
All right. Well, Mojo's. So final verdict: Trauma wins. Yes,
Trauma wins. Yeah, Trauma wins. Hey, Julie, what do you think? Trauma wins or Full Moon wins?
I don't know what either one is.
I just told you, Full Moon is West Coast.
West Coast.
West Coast and 90s.
I bet you anything if you were familiar with them, you would choose Trauma, though. Yeah, if you would.
Well, Toxie loves you.
Well,
First of all you guys, Toxie loves you.
Trauma wins.
Yes.
Trauma wins.
So 80s wins on this round.
So let's sum it up this far. Television?
90s.
90s.
Animation?
90s. What about comics, brother?
We're going to comics.
Oh shit. Oh shit. This is where
comics where it all goes all right. Shit went down in the 80s comic wise. Shit really went down. Batman, there's Watchmen, comics got to get a new level in the 90s. However, or in the 80s. In the 90s, same shit. Because artists separated from, there was Valiant and there was Image, and it's separated, so,
all right, ready?
Who is dead?
You know what? I'm going to have to go 90s just because I'm biased. I wasn't into comics in the 80s. As a child, that was not my thing, by far. So that's... Oh, yeah.
We're talking to them, not us.
Yeah.
I agree with the 90s because I didn't look at a comic book in the 80s. I didn't care till the 90s.
Same here. But that's just circumstance.
Yeah, but the downside of the 90s is basically everything. Kind of goes with the 90s actually was a bad influence for animation. Anything we'll say, comics was a bad influence for 80s. Because what happened was, because of Rob Douchebag Liefeld, who actually lives in our neck of the woods.
Downstairs.
Well, fuck that guy.
Tell him fuck that guy to his face. I dare you. I want to
but Julie, you're a 90s girl, so you actually will like him because what happened was, in the 90s, everything in the 80s tried to go extreme. We had G.I. Joe, extreme. We had extreme Ghostbusters, all because douchebag Rob Liefeld had his extreme studios. So we had G.I. Joe Extreme, which is basically steroid amp bullshit, whatever, insulting G.I. Joe because the 80s wasn't cool anymore. Anything 80s was considered not cool. So we had like G.I. Joe Extreme and Extreme Ghostbusters. Have you seen that cartoon? Have you guys seen that show?
I thought you were doing comics, though.
What do you guys think? Well, it goes with comics because
well, they were taking everything from comics and making it shows and movies and cartoons.
But in the 80s, that's when comics started to come back again, and that's when the Superman and all of that started coming back again. That's when you really started collecting.
That was the 90s.
So I've been told in books.
Superman.
What's up?
Magic Bullet Superman?
The mullet.
Oh, Magic Bullet?
Oh, yeah. I do. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, when you had the mullet, and when you saw like Jimmy Olsen wearing a 9 Inch Nails shirt. Am I right? Yeah. Tell me if I'm wrong here. Yeah.
No, and then the 90s, like, necks were no longer in, apparently, so...
Yeah.
No one
had a
neck.
Steroid amp and shit. Like,
Farland mostly for that, too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, okay, this is the guy who has what was it, Spawn #1 signed by McFarlane, dude. Yeah.
$14.
Even though Spawn was basically like,
what was it? Number 5 is worth the most, though.
Number four, it has Violator on the cover. Right. I'm making sure. But yeah, like, I mean, like, the thing about the 90s was, like, when it came to, like, comics, it was like, everything was extreme, and Assassins, and Black Ops. Like, everything was all hidden assassins, because what happened was, Marvel was screwing over their fucking, their artists and their writers, so they separated. So what happened was, their artists started Image, and their writers started Valiant. And Valiant, apparently people care more about artwork than they care about...
Play dodgeball with them and be like, oh.
I had MC Hammer Pants,
Dodgeball
too.
with his MC Hammer Pants. And, music leads to fashion, fashion leads to music. It is what it is, but yes. Let them fight.
All right. Shane, Julie, you guys go first. I'm just here.
Well, first of all, I'm a 9 Inch Nails head. So I'm definitely a trend. And he didn't really flourish until the 90s.
90s, yeah.
She was 89.
Mm-hmm.
But,
yeah, what was the first thing that Trent Reznor ever? What was the first thing that 9 Inch Nails did? There's a movie called Class of 1999. It came out in 1989. Yes. Head Like a Hole was on. Was actually in that movie.
Did, yes. But
Yeah.
Used the song. Yeah.
Like I've even seen a lot of like internet critics who forgot to mention that. I might add.
I'm gonna go ahead and say this is not even debatable.
I like the 90s music better.
90s?
90s.
90s all the way.
Because...
I always ask what's the worst year, right? See,
I was a teenager in the 90s, and it's like I had a lot of good experiences, and I associate that with music, so I'm going to be biased to the 90s, although my child...
Me and my friends were not listening to 80s music. It was like uncool, like to have records, because all those 80s bands, rap, pop, metal, that was our parents' music that they were listening to, and it was not cool to listen to your parents' music. We were listening to like 90s music. That's what my parents were listening to, and I didn't want to listen to my parents' music.
But that's not really okay. But your parents' music exists
I
in the
love
90s
this.
as well. How does
I
that
have to work.
sense?
This is awesome.
My mom doesn't like the music I liked in the
In the
90s.
90s, but there's...
I was listening to like Cypress Hill and stuff in the 90s. My mom does not listen to Cypress Hill.
Right. But I'm sure in the 80s your mom wasn't listening to Susie, the Banshees, Joy Division, anything like this, no?
No, but we weren't listening to that when I was a teenager either. I grew up in the valley and like, no, you didn't listen to that.
Well, I'm a flip-flopper on the whole thing, right? Because the thing about it came down to this, right? And then in the 80s, I mean, you saw the video in the beginning, right? The evolution of modern rock and roll, people want to blame grunge for killing metal. What was, but that rating was invented because of those two movies by Spielberg. And he was friends with the guy who ran it, and that's what... Well, you saw the video. You watch, what's it called? A channel I watch on YouTube. His name is Bad Good Flicks. I'll be doing a crossover with it in one of my videos. You give the fuck out there. But like, he did like, what the fuck happened to, PG-13? It used to be, what, Jesse?
It used to give balls to PG. Now it takes the balls from R. Like, we want to reach a bigger audience. Like,
I mean, Shane, remember when?
Because there is an in between. If you look at the PG movies from way back, you're kind of like.
You see boobs and tits? Come on, Beastmaster, the first Beastmaster.
Yes.
Yeah, that are questionable. Yes.
I know nowadays the Disney G movies that will be rated PG just because of stupid silly in them.
Right.
Like Lilo and Stitch got rated PG due to aliens and mild violence. Back in earlier days, like 90s and before, it was in G.
Oh shit! Wieners, 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 wieners.
Alright, well, this is the summary. 80s versus 90s.
All right, who wins?
90s.
I don't think the 90s do win.
Well, 90s. Okay. We have our.
Even if 80s has music and movies. Even if we
Alright.
give them that.
All right, you're our jury here,
I gave
so
them
what do you think,
food.
80s or 90s, guys?
I gave the 80s
All
food.
films are
I don't know, I guess half the battle.
What?
I think overall it would have to be the 90s.
Oh shit! Wow. All right, we're done.
And the verdict is 90s.
90s wins.
90s is deadliest.
And next year will be the new 90s, starting next year, guys.
Thank you for coming.
We have free magazines in front if you want some. Thank you so much for showing up. Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe or I will scratch your eyeballs out.
This episode has been brought to you by Zigret.com. There's nothing fake about it. We're the source for electronic cigarettes. Welcome to the 21st century. Quit smoking and start vaping. No tar, no secondhand smoke, no pollution, no offensive odors. Smoke without the guilt. We carry everything from egos to traditional electric cigarettes and a full line of accessories. So please come on down to Zigret.com. All of our flavors are produced right here in the United States, and we can even say our flavors are kosher. So for the best flavors, the best vaping experience that you can get, go to Zigret.com. And remember, all the flavor you will get vaping on your cigarette at Zigret.com. That's Zigret.com.